Hello, you're back with the Jim Burns and that other guy podcast. Now, we've been away. Like most of 2016, we exist only to let you down. Yeah. But we're back now, like an absent father or a lottery win that you really needed. So we're back. We've been in Japan, so that's why the podcast.
You've been in fucking Japan.
Yeah, the royal we, the editorial we, has been in Japan. Now, actually, Jim is so important that Jim literally could not go to Japan.
Well, we can't have the three of us on the same plane at any time, can we? Just in case it goes down.
Yeah.
So
we're like the Coca-Cola boys, you know. Yeah. But no, Jim stayed behind because A, he's an incredibly talented man, and B, we beat him with soap in flannels until he agreed to do it. We've got some very cool stuff coming up. That Jim needed to work on to, get finished, which I suppose is quite important. So you'll find out about that, and it is very, very cool soon, but we can't really talk about that. Now we're going to talk about Dave and Burns Take Japan. And by take, I mean we walked around in it, and it was really cool.
I was quite tall there. It was
really
good.
Can I cut in with little interludes about what I was probably doing at this point?
And Wandsworth is also an interesting place.
So
just so I can feel like I can contribute.
Well, no, Jim.
Well, at this point, I was in my pants in the 19th hour of an edit.
At this point, I was tweeting. Maybe I shouldn't try and update Adobe midway through a project. At which point,
that's the thing.
At which point we were like, great.
Yeah,
we'll land back in England and it'll be on fire. It'll be on fire anyway, but now there'll be another fire.
Yeah, I saw that tweet, did you? No, that's cool.
Yes, I see it all, Jim. I see it all. First time in Japan. I don't like to agree with video game people, but they were right in this regard. Japan is very cool. It's very interesting. Architecturally, I thought fantastic. And I thought it was really interesting because the weather there, it was very much like Britain. It was very grey, but it wasn't cold. And I could do that. I could do Britain if it just wasn't cold all the fucking time. But Dave, you've not been either. That's right.
I have not been, no, until
so what did you notice? We can't really talk about what we're there to do apart from cool stuff. But Dave, what did you think about Japan? Review Japan right now.
Awesome. Totally different place. Loved going to little bars.
It was different, was it? It was totally different.
It was totally different. It's like going in someone's living room. Because we went to these crazy little bars that was like, if you imagine like a council flat in Britain, when you go along and all the tiny little doors that someone else's flat. It was like that, but you go in, it was just cool little living rooms. So it held like 20 people at a time maybe. So we took over the whole bar every time we went into a bar. Yeah. And it was boss. And I had octopus for breakfast. Where Burns kicked off. Was eating fucking pasta for breakfast, which is just weird, and also shouting about the fact that it wasn't actually pasta, it was spag bol. So why was it listed as pasta?
Well, firstly, that's a quote out of Wall Street. But secondly, I mean, look, if you're going to serve it for breakfast, I'll eat it. That's the thing. Don't serve it for breakfast and then have people moan at you that you can actually eat these things. It's not like I went out and I'll get a curly whirly. It was there. It was next to the other stuff.
Creme brulee was also an option for breakfast. It was pretty weird.
Exactly. I mean, really, we weren't there long enough to really get a true feel for Japan. But it was cool. You can buy little Red Bulls at a vending machine. Mm-hmm. I saw, loads of stuff there that I thought, oh, yeah, this actually works. It's a country that works. So what was the sinkhole, Dave? While we were there, like some sinkhole opened. Now, East Croydon bus station, which is one of the nearest bus stations for me if I need to get anywhere, is closed. It won't be open until March. Okay, well, what possibly could you be building there that's going to take that long to reopen it? Oh, we're adding some signs. We're adding some electronic signs. No. Apparently in Japan, sinkhole.
It's like a 2-story sinkhole that they filled
sewage.
in a weekend, including redoing the electrics and the sewage.
48 hours.
And redone it, tarmacked it and everything.
Bang.
And reopened to the public.
We're back. There you go.
There
Brilliant. Brilliant. I'm not going to go into
It's a country that works. That's. I mean,
look.
I guess people who live there and who have
they'll be like, these guys turned up for 100 hours and now they think it's the coolest place in the world.
I can imagine the people who've lived there, grown up there, might be saying, listen, mate, actually it's got all these problems.
I mean, they do build nuclear power plants on fault lines. That is one of the faults that they have.
But there is, and there are some kind of worrying things happening with the politics over there, but as there are everywhere. But when you come from Britain and you see a country in which like the trains are just, they work. You know, this is like when I went to Germany for the first time, and there was a train that was scheduled to arrive at something like, I think it was like 14 minutes past the hour, and I was like, that's a bit fucking specific. That's not happening. And then like absolutely bang on the second, and every single time. And that just doesn't happen here, especially not if you're you know, regularly travelling around the south of London.
Yeah, I'm going to try and do that later on, and I guarantee you 100% it will not work.
And it's just basic things here do not work. This is a country that is kind of shored up by having money pumped into it.
Not any longer, mate.
Jim,
That's
right, listen, got to interrupt Jim before he gets on one of his mad politics rounds.
Sorry.
Obviously, since we've done the last podcast, the United States of America has gone totally fucking sideways, and we will leave that there for the time
just go
being.
back and listen to the last podcast and think, imagine how much life was better then before you're listening to this
time
one.
machine.
What will happen by the time we do the next one?
Oh my word, yeah. I will say about Japan, as we were saying, we'll try and avoid any of the kind of, you know, it's so much better over there and this, that and the other. But it was nice for the trains to work, for example. And yeah, I mean, it was nice to be out of the West.
And it's also the most polite nation you've ever been.
Yeah.
Everyone
It
just
really,
was really happy and smiley and nice.
Well, to you, Dave. I mean, also, I'd like to thank everyone, and this goes into some of the questions that maybe we'll talk about in a moment, but I'd like to thank everyone who, while I was at Hong Kong airport, was tweeting me about potential firearms I do not own while I was in an airport. Please don't do that. I don't own a golden Uzi.
He is in the market.
Not for like a fucking try.
I will say one of the moments that really stood out for me while I was in Japan was we went into one of those bars, and they had loads of vinyl, so you could pick, you know, which record you wanted playing, and chap put it on. So there's a bit of an argument. It was Bowie, that was the side, but was it the first side of Low or the first side of Young Americans? Now,
Low,
I said Low,
obviously.
The rest of the idiots said Young Americans.
And I was so drunk I don't even remember having this conversation.
Exactly. So that wasn't amazing. But yeah, Japan was cool, and I don't know, maybe I'll go back there. Maybe we'll go, Jim. We'll go.
Yeah.
We won't.
Maybe we'll all go.
So questions. Someone said, did you get anything nice from the Pokemon store? That was Terry, TG Parsons, 1701. No. No is the answer. There's a lot of questions
Obviously
about golden Uzis we'll get to in a moment, but we'll kind of talk about some of the stuff that's going on right now.
Can I talk about what I did when you were away?
Oh, I thought you were going to do that in post, as in we were just going to kind of drop out and it'd be like a monologue of you just going, and then...
No, I did some cool things while you were
What did you
away.
do, Jim?
I went onto the Jim Sterling podcast, onto the Podquisition, which...
you did, didn't you?
I did indeed.
You did, and you lied, firstly.
Well, how did I
You
lie?
impugned my reputation, slandered me.
How did I lie?
You said that you were better than me, and that's not...
Well, I think
I didn't say I was better than you.
What did you say then?
Well, I got Jim Sterling to admit that he likes me more than he likes you.
It's kind of the same thing. That's
Lydia
semantics.
likes him more than she likes you.
Well,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, maybe, but you know, you don't have to go on a podcast. I don't go on this podcast saying that I prefer, I don't know, fucking gangrene to hang around with you, do I?
And you know, so did that with Jim and Laura. It was very cool.
I've been on it. It's good.
And he was talking about boglins a lot.
I saw his tweet about that.
Yeah,
years.
He went to a boglin art exhibition in New York, which is, I mean, halfway through him talking about it, I kind of had to interrupt and go, "I'm sorry, this is I can't believe this is a real thing. This is a boglin art exhibition. That's what you said, yeah? It's a boglin art exhibition, okay?
New Turner Prize, man.
So it's like painted boglins. People had made their own boglins, and you know he'd spent hundreds of dollars on a boglin, and you know it was the swanky boglin art exhibition where you buy one and it remains on display for the rest of the exhibition, so you don't actually get. That's how posh it was. It was like, you know, if there was a boglin exhibition that Burns would go to, that would be it.
I mean, posh and boglin were two words I never thought would enter the same sentence.
Posh boglins, right? Only fucking Manhattan.
Once again, these are just exaggerations about my character. Firstly, I'll have you know
But
that
he was
I'm
also
a nice person.
Yeah, he was also there at the same time as my flatmate. So they were talking about, they were both talking about the Trump protests and stuff like that. So basically, everyone was having a fucking lovely time all over the planet while I was sitting editing in my pants.
I will say though that it is going to be more than worth it, because I've seen the end results of these endeavours, and they're fucking brilliant.
I should point out that I was doing fucking excellent work, so
it was, you'll again, I know it's a
Jim's going to be headhunted by ILM soon.
Absolutely.
You'll be able to see it, and then you'll go, yes, good. The boys are doing what they should be doing. They're
definitely doing stuff. They're not lying.
Yeah, we're just sitting around all day.
We're
around.
Not.
But we are sitting, but mainly we're shouting.
I'll never forget that time, just about 2 weeks after we'd started the business properly, and I happened to tweet that I was watching Deep Space Nine on the first day off I'd had for like 2 weeks. And some guy went, "You used to have a job." Like, you cunt, I've got a job.
That was one of my sock puppet accounts. I was trying to get you back in the.
As one
studio.
of your eggs.
So yeah, that's what we've been up to. Again, as I just said, you'll see more of it, and it's very cool. Now, so what's been going on in the world of other stuff? So, Martin Scorsese, he's got a new movie out. It's called Silence. It's going to premiere at the Vatican.
Looks all right.
Yeah. It's very... See, when the trailer started...
It's got all the weird-looking blokes in it, though, isn't it?
Adam Driver, the other one, Spider-Man, but not Spider-Man anymore because he's shite.
Andrew Garfield.
Liam Neeson's in it.
Yeah.
And it's about Christian missionaries who go to Japan, is it?
Yeah.
And then they... and then Liam Neeson gets a bit, captured. So it's like Taken in reverse.
Yeah.
So his kids have to go and get him. They're not his kids, but, And as the trailer started, I was like, nah, Scorsese, 74, he's lost it. And then by the end of it, I was like, I'm definitely going to go and see that movie.
Yeah,
so you got me again, Scorsese. You got me
good.
again. And it's
we're
beautiful
heading into the territory,
looking.
though, aren't we, where people start releasing good films because we're building up to Oscar time.
Exactly.
These are the months to hit the cinema.
We also have like massively right-wing governments everywhere, and that's when art gets better. So
we'll talk about that.
Music gets better. Films get better,
the
telly gets better, comedy gets better.
General quality of life just decreases massively.
Yeah.
But needless trinkets and mindless distractions go up massively.
But it does mean that 30 years later we're gonna have another version of the Young Ones. We're gonna have another. Yeah. We're gonna have another band that was like the Clash. We're gonna reap the benefits artistically. So that's. I mean, it's just if you're grasping for silver linings, that's one of them.
Listen, I'll tell you about silver linings on the plane, which took forever.
Yeah,
I watched some movies. So and you can do this, Dave, after I've done it, and you can't, Jim, because you weren't there. But we'll do the rundown of shit that we watched on the plane. So,
all right, okay.
I watched maybe 20 minutes of the Absolutely Fabulous movie, which was so impossibly bad that I nearly applauded.
Is it bad?
I haven't seen it, but it got very well reviewed.
Maybe I've been on the plane for a while at this point, but it was very bad.
That's upset me.
It was no. Anyway, that's gone. I also watched Steve Jobs, which I thought was okay. I thought that by framing it through his life through 3 different product launches, it's a cool idea. You can see the screenwriter. Did Sorkin get involved in this? You're going, yeah, this is going to be amazing.
It's got to be Sorkin, isn't it?
And then
100% Sorkin.
And the dialogue is fucking brilliant, obviously. Yeah. And then going, oh, now I've got to cram an entire man's life into these 3. And sometimes it doesn't quite work. It's a bit contrived. Because obviously you have to get everything in on... He's going on stage to announce the Macintosh, the iMac, and, some other shite. So I thought it was okay.
What 3 product launches is it out of interest?
So I think it's the Macintosh is one, then the iMac.
Yeah.
And something else I can't remember.
The Macintosh is in like the original fucking the little boxy rectangle bullshit.
Oh, and Next. So it's Macintosh Next, and then
right, okay.
iMac. So
the iMac, and then the iPhone, surely.
No, they don't have that.
Doesn't get to the iPhone.
No, not. So it's just okay.
I mean, what his signature fucking product?
I think that the point the movie's making is that the major transitional moments in his life came before that, and the iPod, phone, whatever, just acts as like a crowning glory. as a thing that you know that this works well. Maybe you don't know about the political intrigues of Next or the reasons why that operating system was and Box and whatever was as it was. So I thought that was okay. And Fassbender was really good. Really, really good.
Is he not?
Exactly.
Fassbender as well, good, mate.
So the best film that I saw on the planes.
What is it? What's it going to be?
It was The Nice Guys.
Oh,
by Shane Black.
It's
so
a fucking good. I keep telling you guys, it's really good.
No, I really like Shane Black because I've got a brain. I don't use it often, but in there, hardwired is Shane Black is good. And so I started watching it, and I was a bit like, oh, it's a bit like someone going, I've seen Boogie Nights.
Did you expect Russell Crowe to be that good at comedy timing?
No.
Yeah.
Well, and it's a movie that doesn't. I don't think it starts particularly well.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit, or maybe it's you just have to get past the 70s stylings. We've seen if you've seen Boogie Nights, for example, mining that sort of thing. Anyway, by about halfway through, you're like, this is actually fucking brilliant. And Ryan Gosling in it is amazing. And also, there is character development for those guys. But what I love is that they're still the same arseholes. So it's like a 2-track thing where they actually learn and maybe grow a little bit.
Yeah.
But underneath, they're still, so his drinking problem, which is played for laughs, but is actually really somber and serious at the end. I thought his daughter was really good.
She's fantastic.
Absolutely
she's
brilliant.
she's totally. Child actors seem to be like you either fucking despise them or they're just like, wow, Jesus, they're amazing, and she's definitely in the latter group. So
good movie again, like Sorkin, Shane Black, the dialogue. Absolutely brilliant, and the way that it keeps on looping the jokes back in.
Yes, yeah.
And that moment where it, so not really a spoiler, but there's a moment in it where Ryan Gosling's character he's at like a very low ebb because his daughter and Russell Crowe and everyone just think he's an idiot, and then he has like a brainwave, a real bit of insight, like a real detective would have, and he explains it. And it's a real triumphant moment where he's like, actually, you've got this wrong because this is this. And I won't go into it because it'll kind of ruin the joke. And then it's revealed that he's completely wrong. But the way he presents it as this real moment where he's got it right. And then you go to the end and it's like, oh, no, sorry, I got that one wrong. And it's so well played by Gosling, who, he's a good-looking guy. He's done a lot of movies where I think you can go either way on him, really, sometimes. Because he is so good looking, because he is so famous, it's a bit like the Ryan Gosling show. Here, it is just, he is playing that character, and after a while you stop looking at him as if like a movie star. And start looking at him as just a very talented actor, and which is hard to convey in a tiny plane.
Yes,
thing.
it is.
So well done, Shane and Ryan and everyone else. Dave, what did you see?
I watched 10 episodes of The X-Files. I don't like watching films on small screens. I like watching them in the cinema, so I opted for something that I haven't seen for ages. Going back a few weeks, we were talking about great pilots. The X-Files is definitely one of them. Like it lays its cards out early on. The characters are excellently done. It's brilliant. Pilot, yeah. There are some dreadful episodes that I watched. But yeah, overall, I think I'm going to watch it again.
Yeah. How are the fashions holding up?
Mulder and Scully look pretty good.
Not what you mean, their faces or their high lapelled
I don't know, man. The shoulder pads are coming back in, are they not?
That's not a question. That's not why I asked. Okay.
Oh, I also watched a fantastic documentary called Weiner.
Oh yeah, this is a good one. This is a good one
about Anthony Weiner, the New York politician, and
busted for dick picking all the time.
Back in the.
It's
back
really
in the news recently, wasn't it?
Yeah. For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
When he's actually a very good politician and very interesting, and if you watch him in Congress and stuff, brilliant clips, very passionate and intelligent man, and then obviously just doing stuff that,
it's
ruins
just
his career and his marriage.
It's the most ridiculous example of nominative determinism, and it makes me think that the world isn't actually real. So
that man whose name is Weiner is ruined because he can't control his wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, fair enough. That could be.
But if you wrote that that would be considered too far-fetched.
Yeah.
That's a bit of a coincidence, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
I don't know.
It's like, it's like an action movie starring a man called John Gunn. Like,
Listen,
I'd watch that.
they made an action movie with a man called John Matrix.
yeah.
Whose last name would be Matrix? Like, what is he, a printer?
Matrix.
Like, anyway, so yeah, I also watched a bit of Ballers, which is okay, mainly carried by The Rock. And I watched 3 episodes of Billions. Now, Billions had been this show that everyone was loving because it's just another cunt does cool stuff show, innit? I was watching it like, look, this should be, the show that I need to watch. And I just thought it was a bit, Damian Lewis is incredible in it.
Mm-hmm.
Giamatti's performance is good. But, I mean, how many more of these shows are we really going to be like, here we go. Oh, I'm a powerful man. I want stuff. I can't have it. Yes, I can. Oh, the government are like, like it's over the last 10 years, well, actually over the last 5,000 years, in television particularly, you know this, Dave, the amount of shows that kind of wheel on a talented, middle-aged white man getting what he wants. So all of Star Trek, basically. And, was it House?
That was
It's
one of my criticisms.
he's a
of
genius.
Birdman. I know it was obviously not, it's film, not TV, but felt like the kind of like, oh, I've got everything, but I want more. I'm just not famous enough or whatever. I enjoyed the film, but it wasn't the best picture for me.
I thought it was great. No one asked you if it was best picture, mate. It's still been decided.
There'd be loads of nerds who'd be annoyed with me if I didn't point out that.
Of course, yeah. I wanted you to step in.
That Deep Space Nine
Yeah.
and Voyager don't really follow that trend. But
exactly.
That's
That was
'cause
meant to
Ben's
be
not
your
enough
lead
thinking
in.
about
well,
Star
no,
Trek.
but
To talk about.
But what I would say is that, look, I'm mentioning it because somebody will pull us up if we don't mention it, but I would let it go because I think the trend supports largely what you said. So,
Well, I did want you to, because I knew Deep Space Nine. But
did you want me to argue with you so you could actually so you could tell me?
No, I just wanted, as you're the Star Trek man, I wanted to give you the feed in, but you fucked it, and now you're on the other side. So once again, you have fucked it. Okay, yeah. So yeah, Billions, I thought it was cool. I like it when he wears the 2 sizes too small Metallica t-shirt and mugs off the people who mugged him off in the past. That's the best bit. So if you've seen it, you know what that's
Metallica are a good band, Steve Benz.
Metallica are a fucking great
That's
band.
the correct answer, but I'm not sure that everyone in this group agrees with us.
Yeah, Jim thinks they're a load of shit because Jim's too busy listening to fucking.
Metal is a load of shit.
Oh my
Just
word.
saying,
What is wrong with
as
you?
a genre, and
Sit down and watch S&M.
every
Why are you
related
such a
subgenre. It's
What
just
is wrong with
fucking-
you?
It's fucking bollocks.
Right, listen, shut up, right? So let's talk about things that have been happening.
Screaming. That's
Listen.
Yeah.
Firstly, shush.
Yeah.
Secondly, right, so we won't talk about politics, so I'm just exhausted. I'm just exhausted by it. I'm sure everyone listening to this is.
everyone's
So let's
exhausted
talk
by it.
about some stuff that's happening in the world of entertainment. Let's talk about some video game stuff, because, we've been doing video game stuff.
yeah.
So-
Video games are rad. I like them.
Yeah, video games are back.
Yeah,
They
they're
are
back. Well,
back.
they're back in my life because I don't have to fucking cover them anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to review them. I don't have to tell people what I think of them, so I like them now.
Yeah, so you can switch off that part of your brain.
Just the
So
part of the brain that keeps going, this is fucking dog shit. And you just accept it. You just let it happen. You just let it wash over.
You don't have to.
You don't have to think critically about every
Yeah.
single facet. Oh, I'm not sure about the leveling. Nobody gives a fuck about the leveling system.
Well, maybe this is how people.
I'm not sure
actually
about.
think.
I'm not sure about the dithering on the water.
The dithering on the water.
Honestly,
I know, actually,
right.
that's me. Okay. That is me.
Yeah, but there was a video game that came out quite recently, which I won't name, and a lot of people in our former profession were talking on the Twitter and all that about the water and obsessing about what the water looked like, and I'm like, you're all cunts.
You know what? That's mean, firstly. Hitman season finale came out. You know what? Hitman season is my game of the year. One thing I will say, I did like the kills in this one. It's got a very cool setup where you have to kill someone who is having or in the midst of having a heart transplant. So there's cool things you can do with like switching out stuff and making it all go awry. My issue with this last level is I always think that Hitman is at its absolute best when it's more low level in terms of your environment, more low key, scale, whatever you want to call it. So the famous example is A New Life in Hitman Blood Money. You infiltrate a man's suburban home, you burn his wife to death with a rigged barbecue, and maybe you push him down the stairs. Now, there's something really fucking horrible and macabre about being a really highly trained professional killer and pushing someone down the stairs. And that's what I really like about some of the Hitman levels, and what I really like about these ones, about, like, say, Sapienza. Even though that's a gigantic estate, it still feels like somewhere you would go. You know, you can identify a high-tech, like a super high-tech billionaire only, or millionaire only, heart transplant place in Japan, in the mountains. It's just that next leap away. And I know why they want to change it up. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying that of the series, I prefer the episodes that are a bit more like the Showstopper or Sapienza. But it's been a great series.
Those are the first two, weren't they?
Yeah. Season 2, I think, is going to be incredible because now they've got those basics nailed. And they've changed a lot of stuff up as they go through, from UI to behaviours to letting the player know.
When is it released as a disc?
Very, very soon, I believe. Also today, on the day of recording, on the day of my daughter's wedding, it is Black Friday, which isn't as threatening as it sounds. It just means a bunch of idiots will be on the streets later bottling each other for a shit fucking television. Now, has anyone bought anything?
People fucking kill each other over Blaupunkt televisions.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's like HD ready,
Have you ever had
20 inch, and you're like, yeah, I want that!
Come on now.
But you bought a game, Jim, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought Watch Dogs 2. It's down to 30 quid. And it's one of the games that is sold substantially less than the game it sequelizes. Which has worried a lot of commentators and a lot of industry people recently. But that aside, Black Friday on Amazon, it's down to 30, and I thought that's all.
That's the buying point, right? That's the price.
I mean, 30 is like taking a punt money almost. So it's in the taking a punt ballpark. So I thought, fuck it, and everyone says it's great. And people who really, really disliked the first one are saying it's great. And I remember way back in the day, Burns, a certain SWB saying that, Stephen W. Burns, it's not a euphemism for anything else, a certain Stephen W. Burns saying that, Watch Dogs has, it's a bit of a shiter, but it's got great foundations for a sequel. And I think
I did say something like that.
And I think your prediction, and a lot of people made that prediction, to be fair, at the time, but I think that's panned out. It seems to have panned out.
Oh yeah, look at that! Well done, Jim. Finally, some humility. You found it. Speaking of that, I
Never
also
ever tell him that he's remotely right about anything.
Honestly,
I'm right all the fucking time.
I also pointed out that you were one of lots of people saying it.
Yeah,
so
but you felt that you had to add that in. You felt like, as you were getting towards the end of that little fucking
and also,
statement.
Everyone at the time was only saying it because Assassin's Creed 2 was better than the first Assassin's Creed, so everyone was basing all this off a sample of one. So it wasn't a dead cert prediction, mate. It just happens that this one panned out. So don't get too fucking full of yourself.
Well, I will, because the next game we're going to talk about...
Also, nobody in this room knows whether or not it's shit. This is games journalists saying it's not shit, so...
Dangerous stuff.
People like Mad Patrick Dane, but also
MPD.
But also our former colleague Alice Bell, who in fairness is not stupid and quite trustworthy. So
I did also say that another game had really good foundations and would be excellent, or the sequel would be excellent, and that was Dishonored. So I still haven't had time to play Dishonored 2. I know I'm being that guy. And this weekend I'm going to go and buy Dishonored 2.
People are doing the Hitman thing where they keep replaying the levels and doing the speed runs and stuff.
That's good, because I love Hitman.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to playing that. But the whole Black Friday thing, I don't want to sound like anyone's dad. Buy whatever you want. I mean, I've got more than one watch. I mean, come on. Speaking of fucking spending money for no reason. But it's just when the whole thing is like, when it was one day.
Yeah.
Then it actually had some sort of intrigue to it, because you could win or lose.
It's like a week now.
Yeah, now it's a week. It's just a week in November. And November's shite anyway. So it's like, I didn't get that. When it used to be, I need to go somewhere at this time at 12, or I might not get PS4 discounted to fuck off, whatever.
There are some great PS4 deals, actually.
Are there?
2 games, 200 quid.
Is that for the base model one?
For
like slim?
500 gigabytes slim.
Yeah, I don't know. I
But it's mostly just companies getting rid of shite in their warehouse, isn't it?
Exactly. So, all right. Well, look, we've talked about that now. Mm-hmm. Dave, hold on. You said did you buy anything?
No, absolutely
No,
not.
absolutely.
Have you
not.
played any video games recently?
I've downloaded with PlayStation Everybody Goes to the Rapture. Haven't played it yet. I know
Yeah.
you two aren't overly thrilled with it, are you?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Do you
that's like a 10.
Yeah, do your diligence, mate. It's good. It's a walking simulator based in the countryside. Now, really, I hate both those things. But this one was good. I liked it.
Yeah.
There was one point where you find a gun and I was like, please let me fire the gun.
It
You're not
does
allowed to.
really nail the kind of it really nails the atmosphere and the architecture of that small English market town. It's like it just as a representation of sheer Englishness, it really nails it.
I've not started
which is
it
why,
yet.
of course, I despise it. But
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's,
I'm playing Witcher 3.
Oh
Witcher
yeah,
3 's
which you stole my copy of.
Yes, I did.
Which I was
Because
going
you hadn't opened it and it's been out for ages.
it's in the fucking
Well,
cellophane.
oh, right.
It's in the cellophane.
Do not remove from box, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll just break into
It was in the cellophane, and Dave's like, "Shall I nick this?" And I said yes.
So
he did
what-
it with
so-
It was peer pressure.
So I suppose it'll be fine when I go to your house
Uh-huh.
and just steal your housemate's stuff, will it?
Well,
They've actually got a full box set of The Prisoner that I wanted to watch.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
no, but
Yeah.
but
Well, I mean,
no, I
Yeah.
was giving Dave
Oh.
permission to steal
so
your
but-
shit.
Yeah, but that
You
so-
got it for
no,
free and didn't open.
No, I'm sorry.
Jog
The
on.
equivalent would be you giving Dave permission to steal my shit.
No,
I mean, you
Don't
can do
bring
that,
anyone
but he
else
opens the
into it.
games.
I'll change the rules. Okay, next time I'm in there, if you're listening to this, Jim's housemates, have a quick scan of your DVD collection.
This is a complete false equivalence
I
because
think, yeah.
because you're acting as if I told Dave, yeah, just go and steal
I
all
don't
Lydia's
care.
shit as well.
I mean,
Which I didn't.
That could have belonged to Lydia.
Of course, it didn't belong to Lydia.
But you didn't know that.
I was in the room when it was sent to you. When it was received by you in the
Yeah,
post, rather.
but that could have been care of Steve Burns. See, exactly. I'm very tricky on these things, boys. Be careful.
We were both standing there as the postman handed us each a copy of the same thing.
That didn't happen.
I'll tell you what else. Is Jim give me a copy of The Last of Us Remastered. So I haven't played the remastered version yet, so I think I will do that over Christmas as it's absolutely brilliant.
It's very,
It's
very good.
it's an 8 out of 10 game, that one.
Whatever.
Nah, it's a proper
an 8
nine-
plus 2 out of
9.5.
10.
Yeah, it's an 8 out of 10. It's good. I really like it.
Yeah.
It's an 8 out of 10 game. Right, okay, let's move on to some questions, shall we? Because, time's getting short, and we've actually, after this podcast, got to shoot something vital to the war effort. And by war effort, I mean it's the end of one of my videos.
It is literally. We'll have to do the podcast now, lads, because by the time we finish, it will be dark and we can film that thing.
It needs to be dark. So, it's not like we're just procrastinating. There's a proper production reason for it.
I mean, luckily it gets dark in the middle of the afternoon now, so you can do that and then have a whole evening.
Don't. Okay, listen. Right, here's a good question from Matt Jones, who you might know as
Matt Jones,
yeah.
my great mate Matt Jones,
Yeah.
with whom I'm great mates.
Yeah, my frenemy from the Loading Bar
Yeah.
sketches that we did, which were fucking brilliant.
He's
If
a
you've
good
not
lad.
seen him,
He's a good lad.
Have a little look.
Those are fantastic videos.
They are good, aren't they?
What we made with the loading bar.
exactly. I mean, all right, Loading Bar's pretty cool as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at first I was like, video game people, but you go there, they also sell booze. So I mean, the more booze you have, the less you have to actually
There's
care
another
about.
silver lining. We're full of silver linings
Yeah.
today.
There was a period of about a year where, like, every time I went to loading bar, Jimmy would sort of be like, "I think you can get Burns to come down." I'm like, "Nah, mate." and then
He's in the shard,
and then
contemplating going off the top of it again.
he's either in the shard or he's looking at the shard from his house.
You can see it now. There it is.
And also, but I think eventually you were convinced, and you're like, it's all right. But while that was going on, you'd be in our employers at the time, our employers podcast, giving it the big one, slagging people off for going on about other games journalists, and one of your favourite lines was, "Yeah, all these pricks hanging about in fucking Dalston or whatever."
But that's not necessarily a dig against Loading Bar. Have you ever been to
it was in
Dalston?
Dalston.
Yeah, but Loading Bar is in Dalston. But trust me, I've been out in Dalston a lot, and it is bad.
Hey mate, Dalston's coming to Croydon now. They got Box Park.
They got
It's
Box
the beginning of the
Park.
end.
Don't try and make it out that I don't like loading. This is a statement of fact.
I didn't.
You're trying.
I didn't.
You
What I'm
fucked
saying
it.
is that you put your foot in it, and
No, I did not.
You know, you regularly put your foot in it. I had to go into the
Really?
loading bar and do damage control and say, "Oh no, Burns isn't a tosser, honest."
He just thinks
Which
everyone else is a
everyone knows is
tosser.
a fucking
Exactly. Listen,
Yeah.
my point of contention was not
But
the
then
bar,
but
it's
then-
the people in the bar.
No,
Like most bars. I'm going to go to a bar later on in Borough Market.
You're just making it worse now.
Yeah.
The people in the but so you're saying, "Oh, they're all right. Their clientele are a bunch of wet."
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
My, oh my God.
Right, listen, speaking of Matt Jones,
Their clientele are our clients. Potential clients.
listen,
He hates people, video game journalists.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is established.
Anyway,
Listen.
sorry, carry on, Burns.
Listen.
Sorry.
anyway, Matt Jones,
Uh-huh.
who I do actually really like.
Yeah.
He's a very funny lad.
He's a good lad.
Yeah. Asked the most pertinent question about the Japan trip, Dave, which was, did you lads enjoy looking at photos of Tommy Lee Jones? And I got to say, I did, because he's an ambassador for Suntory out there. I think it's Boss Coffee or something. And yeah, you just walk around and there'll be a picture of Tommy Lee Jones, not even looking happy, just
Yeah, it's like they did
thoughtful.
it really quickly. Like,
Yeah.
he had like, right guys, I've got 4 minutes. Get what you need, and then I'm off.
Yeah, he just looks, in some of them, he actually looks quite sad. You know, a profile shot of Tommy Lee Jones going, I mean, he looks great for his age. And also,
So
what?
has Tommy Lee Jones gone out there and done the sort of the Bill Murray character?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is that
Well, I
lost
think
in
so.
translation.
But it's good. I mean, the advert in and of itself is purely the most celebrity endorsement in terms of here is a face of someone that you might recognise, and here is a product. He's not even holding the product. It's just next to him. It's just adjacent. But I liked
We
it.
did learn something incredible in Japan, didn't we, Steve Burns?
Oh, what?
Like the greatest fact ever.
What did we learn?
We learned that on Christmas Day they have KFC. It's a tradition. So we're losing Burns to Japan because clearly that's
Special Gun Japan office. They have KFC. But
they
then
don't celebrate Christmas, but on Christmas Day they have KFC.
Yeah, exactly. Also, while we're talking about that,
that sounds incredible, actually.
we
And
went to
fair play.
McDonald's
And
in
it
Japan.
would take a lot of the effort out of Christmas.
Yeah,
let's
take the
face it.
sting out of it, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So you went to McDonald's.
Went to
sorry.
McDonald's, right? Because you
Yeah.
always like to see what the regional differences are, right? and
Fucking tosser. Absolute
and
fucking
what? I mean, in KFC in New York, you used to be able to get the double down, okay? And hopefully, I was thinking, hopefully they've got like an equivalent of
I'd
that.
like to see what the regional difference is.
Yeah,
This is the guy who referred to his back garden as the grounds yesterday.
exactly.
Yeah, come on. Come on, we'll have a tour of the grounds.
Listen, firstly, it's not just the back garden. There's also an extra part of it, and you know that.
What, the compound?
The compound. Right, listen. No spoilers. Right, so
You know, you just sounded like a man. You just sounded like a fucking Victorian English gent going like, oh yeah. Yeah.
what is that? What is that fucking slander? Right,
we like
listen,
to,
shut up. So I went to McDonald's,
yeah,
right? And I was
yeah.
with a games journalist. They didn't know anything.
Yeah.
Right, so I went up there to order, and they were like, Steve, you'll have to obviously do, you have to do a lot of pointing or whatever. It was speak slowly. And I was like, no. So anyway, I ordered it all. But not because I think that, I have a divine right to just go barrel into a McDonald's in Japan and order something. But,
Exactly
English,
what happened.
English over there, like, people speak it. Anyway, they were like, they're never going to understand what he says. The only question that the McDonald's staff asked me was, do you want regular or Diet Coke? And I turned around and was like, in your face, motherfucker. I told you they'd know what I was saying.
Yeah.
Now, I recall it like that, but maybe, as it was after a night out, it was me going,
4:30 in the morning. It might not quite have been like that.
no, but we went in, it was fine, and there were so many people in there asleep. Upstairs. What time is it? We've got to be 1:30, 2 in the morning?
No, it's later than that. Yeah, it
Was
like
it?
early morning.
But yeah, there's just people sleeping in McDonald's. I thought,
Yeah.
that's cool. Anyway, the McDonald's itself was good. The chips in Japan are
Oh,
incredible.
they nail the chips in Japan.
Absolutely perfect. Very
Yeah.
salty.
Do they double fry the McDonald's chips?
I don't know. I didn't have time to ask.
If it's good chips, they've usually been double fried.
Really?
So
Yeah. But I was like, this is good. This is good. All right, so yeah, we enjoy the photos of Tom Lee Jones. We'll get the politics question out of the way now. Ken Sharp asks, will I need to watch the first World at War to understand the sequel? Let me tell you that if you are seeing the sequel to the World at War, then there is no time for a catch-up on the first one. It'll probably be over.
I mean, we'll be living it very soon.
Yeah, but watch the first World at War because it's brilliant and it's probably quite instructive as to a lot of the things which are happening now. Dr. Mark Sloan... He's not a doctor. We've already got this one.
Yeah,
down.
we also need to apologise to Dr. Mark Sloan and the fictional Dr. Mark Sloan for not getting that.
Exactly. Did Burns get his gold Uzi through customs? No. This is what I was going to say. So I lost my train of thought earlier because you were being a cock, Jim. But so anyway, while I was tweeting about getting gold Uzi in Japan, someone who is a journalist tweeted me back who lives in Japan, and they tweeted me saying, "If you go here, you can probably get one." And I was like, "Great." I'm not gonna, but finally a real answer. Anyway, I then get a message from this person, who's a Westerner but now lives in Japan, saying something along the lines of, "Are you gonna be out later?" And I thought that was a humorous joke about me going to this district to pick up my firearm. Turns out, no. He actually knows one of the journalists in the party that we're going out with later that night. He turns up and he's like, "You're Steve, right? I follow you on Twitter." And I'm like, "Oh, you're the guy that told me where to get the gold Uzi." He went, "Yeah." And we didn't say another word to each other. I was like, "Nice to meet you." And that was that. Brilliant. So there are helpful Westerners that can help you get firearms in Japan. Right.
Should we point out that you weren't actually seeking a firearm?
No, for any law enforcement authorities, which is all of them now, I definitely wasn't. It's a simple joke. Don't be a dick about it, okay? It definitely wasn't, all right? Yeah. I'm a respectable, legitimate gentleman.
It's a simple lampoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, he wants it. I mean, it's just a joke he got off Gaddafi, isn't it?
Who he's friends with.
Listen. Oh yeah. My uncle said that. Right. So. Right. So. Here's a question. This is a good one from McDonald Ultras. I don't know. Anyway. Film with the most misinterpreted message. This is a good question because a lot of films' messages are massively misinterpreted.
Forrest Gump.
The first one, of course, is Scarface. Scarface's message is, "Don't be a cunt. You will get shot in the back."
Yeah.
However, the message up until that point is, man, being on a load of cocaine and being really rich is awesome. But you're kind of meant to, weigh the two up against each other because by the end of it, and if you haven't seen it, get a grip. Tony Montana is dead. His empire has crumbled. His sister is dead. And his best mate is dead by his own hand. So really, it's gone quite bad. As days go, you probably write that one off. And if that happened to you in a GTA save, you'd probably say it was corrupted and was a bug, and you'd start again, right? But yeah, of course, it's been because it's so 80s, because it's so intoxicating. Push it to the limit. All of the kind of Marauder style or whatever soundtracks. It just looks cool, even like gaudy. And so obviously people seek to emulate it. The world is yours, and the Porsches and the fucking clubs and all of that shite. But yeah, if you actually watch the last 3 minutes of the movie, because there's no epilogue. It gets shot in the back, falls into a fountain, and then a man walks off, and it just ends. Doesn't get any clearer than that. Dave, you've got a good one, haven't you?
I have indeed. That would be Fight Club, which even the legend Mr. Roger Ebert did not like. It was the most gleefully fascistic film since Death Wish.
Since Death Wish. They printed that on the DVD, didn't they? In the liner notes.
Yeah, there's loads of criticisms of it. But obviously there are stuff that deals with that kind of stuff, but it's not an endorsement of that. It's a send up of it. But what it actually is a love story, and one of my favourite romantic comedies, really. Because it's the driving force of the whole thing is him falling in love and ditching all that stuff. It's not actually about fighting in basements.
Yeah, fighting in basements happens as a result of...
Well, it's like a satire of the kind of toxic masculinity and stuff. It's not an endorsement of it.
Yeah. I think the problem with it is that, one, like Scarface, again, it's easy to... In the book, it's a lot more... it's a lot easier to come away with the message that it's all bollocks. But when you cast Brad Pitt...
Yeah.
Right. And when you shoot Brad Pitt that way,
he does look fucking good.
Yeah.
Film, doesn't
there's only one way that people are going to interpret that, and the message of the movie, it may not even be that all this is cool and you need the six pack. And they actually at one point they get Norton and Pitt get on the bus, and there's like a Calvin Klein advert with a guy, and they
Yeah.
said, "Is that what a real man looks like?"
Whilst looking like
exactly right. So, and I obviously
that's why it's a comedy.
yeah, but I just think people take, that very famous still of it, of Brad Pitt with no shirt on, like with a fag in his mouth or whatever, and kind of spin it out. Jim, got any more examples of this?
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump. What's Forrest Gump about, really?
Forrest Gump about, really? Well, I mean, it's fundamentally about fatherhood, isn't it? Independence Day. Fundamentally about fatherhood.
But what do people mistake Forrest Gump? What do people think the other message of Forrest Gump is?
People think that Forrest Gump and Independence Day are misinterpreted very similarly in that they think that they are expressions of sort of Americanism, of jingoism. I mean, it is a film about Americana as well. Like there's a lot of, I mean, you see a lot of America, and it documents that sort of kind of the kind of golden post-war age into the 80s, and they talk about the Vietnam War, and it's sort of seeing probably the most kind of significant era of American history through the eyes of its sort of idiotic character. Well, he's not an idiot, but you know what I mean. So it's I think it's kind of seen as a film that celebrates Americana and perhaps celebrates it blindly. And Independence Day as well is I often see it described as jingoistic, as gung ho, and it's like, yeah, this is a film about American military might makes right. And it's like, it's not really about that. It's actually about Independence Day is about a civilization at the height of its fucking power being taken down by an outside force. It's not about how much better, how great America is. It's about how fragile America is. And that H.G. Wells parallel with the War of the Worlds. War of the Worlds was about a civilization at the height of its power, Victorian Britain, getting taken out by an outside force and not knowing how to deal with it. And that's and the thing, and that's why it's such a great disaster movie. I would say that War of the Worlds is one of the original disaster movies, even though it was a book. Shut up. But
quite a lot of these are books, though, aren't they? That were talking that were.
But it was
have literary grounds.
Yeah, absolutely. It's about. It's not saying America is great. It's actually saying this is how we could be taken out. This is what would happen if it's a sort of a fantasy about how things would be if we were taken out, because it comes from the idea that the British Empire could be squashed by a superior force with superior technology was shocking to the Victorians.
Yeah, but it was squashed by its own people, the British, because they're fucking shite.
It was shocking to the Victorians. The idea that anything could destroy the British Empire was just completely unthinkable. I mean,
I'm kind of harking back to that right now.
I mean, 100 years later, we've fucking done it to ourselves, like, look, very literally. But and Independence Day was the same, and in a sort of similar vein, Forrest Gump isn't about how wonderful the American dream is. Forrest Gump is about fatherhood and sort of struggling against the
things that happen to you in America.
Well, it's a triumph against the adversity of actually the sort of the standard configuration of the American dream is able-bodied and relatively smart and does well at school
and not doing a bad
picket
war.
fences, and certainly not getting married to someone like Jenny, who had a history of abuse and drug problems and stuff like that. These are sides of America that they don't like to acknowledge exist. Certainly not back then.
Listen, Forrest Gump is shite, firstly. Secondly, speaking of literary adaptations, the one that everyone gets wrong is, of course, American Psycho.
Absolutely. Another work of transgressive fiction.
Yeah. So, Bret Easton Ellis said in probably about 5,000 interviews that if you take what is written in the book, and this is another thing that film can't do, one of the many reasons why it had to be different. But in the book, there's so much attention paid to the clothes that they're wearing and all that sort of stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Ellis says if you actually were to rip out a page of it, find a lookbook or, you know, a warehouse which contained all of those things which Bateman and his crew said that they were wearing, and put it together, they would look like clowns.
Yeah.
Because it's meant to dull you. If you actually can think about it, it's like, oh. But the film, they just look really cool, right? Because they have to, because otherwise you spend every scene going, these people look stupid.
Garish.
Yeah. So, and also the whole violence thing with America. The reason to reread American Psycho is because it is actually genuinely hilarious. And Bateman himself as a representation of America as what is meant to be the plus side of America, the opposite of what you just said, Jim. You know, the 20-something, rich, white, affluent, connected, plugged in, intelligent, gorgeous, whatever. But then you think about it, you're like, he's actually a fucking cunt. And as the book goes on, he actually starts, even if he didn't murder anyone, you think he's a tosser. And that's the main message of the book, is that everyone's so interchangeable that they keep on getting each other mixed up and that no one cares about anything. And so they're all just little trinkets to be passed.
That's similar in some ways to The Great Gatsby as well. Another piece of
Everyone gets
literature.
Gatsby wrong, yeah, because all they see is the
Decadence
house. And in fairness, the movie versions of Gatsby, Coppola did a movie version of Gatsby, wrote it, that wasn't very good. And that had Robert Redford in it. So, and Faye Dunaway. But, yeah, you're absolutely right, Dave, is that people just see... When you think about the DiCaprio Gatsby, in my mind, it's just endless gifs of him raising the martini glass. That's not the message. Like, closer to the message of the movie is when he's pulling the shirts out and throwing them. Or the end of it. Or any of it which doesn't have him as this boyish, beautiful scion, essentially, of
It's
America
kind of done what they've done
itself.
with Bruce Springsteen's Born in the USA.
That-
Like, taking
yeah.
it as like, yeah, this
Or
is an
John
awesome
Mellencamp,
anthem. You're
yeah.
like, have you read the lyrics to this song? This
Yeah.
is not an endorsement of Americana.
Yeah. All right, well, look, we might be running a bit long here, so we'll get one more question in. It's from Not Nixon, thank goodness. Because if Nixon was back, then that would be the end of it. Says, what is the prettiest movie ever? So, speaking of Gatsby, that's a good-looking movie, which kind of becomes a big garish look at. It's a Lerman movie. One you can't turn away from, even if the story isn't very good. So, one of the main examples I've got for this is Road to Perdition.
Yeah.
So that is an exquisitely framed movie, and it's beautiful, and it must have cost so much time, let alone money, to get right. Every frame of painting is built for that fucker. But after a while, it starts to become too much, because you're too busy focusing on the fucking mise en scène or how the frame is arranged. And what it is like running a very slow projector or holding the actual negative up to the light and going, okay, oh, that looks good. And it starts to detract from the movie itself. There are beautiful shots in it, like when Daniel Craig's character is killed and he's revealed dead in the bathtub when the door swings. It's kind of like an Orson Welles move with the mirrors, you know, in Citizen Kane, and the door swings and reveals and all of this. And that's great. But there's a reason why keeping it simple in a lot of filmmaking, getting from scene to scene and saving your beauty for the things that really matter. Because otherwise you just inure people to it.
It depends on the story that you're telling, doesn't it?
In most positions, like a gangster, you know, it's meant to have a bit of grit to it. The Godfather is beautiful and looks beautiful throughout, but it's not shot that same way. It uses light as its conveyance method there, rather than just, here's a beautiful frame, please look at everything in it. So, yeah, I didn't hate the movie. I just thought after a while I was looking at a very serious collection of art.
Yeah.
Dave, any suggestions on this one?
Obviously, Apocalypse Now, another film that we both love. Lit
Yeah.
incredibly well. Blade Runner is one of my favourite for cinematography.
Yeah.
That's who's that? Jordan Cronenberg.
Wasn't he? He was on to do Alien 3, wasn't he? And he
was
became
he?
very ill, I think, and so someone had to take over. But yeah, he did that, and he's done a lot of very, very cool shit.
I love a lot of Jean-Pierre Jeunet's films. Amélie, in particular. Beautiful looking film.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to. There are loads of really good looking movies, but there are few which really use that to their advantage, and that's
Well,
where
you
Road
want
to
to be
Perdition.
storytelling with light, the same as you do with every department, like the costume or.
Yeah, and some of it is just like we're saying to Perdition is beauty for beauty's sake, I think. Whereas
I think that detracts from the product sometimes, from the film.
Kurt's coming out in half shadow works. I mean, that new Alien poster, if you shop in Colonel Kurtz's head, it's an Apocalypse Now poster.
How are you feeling about that film?
It's going to be shite. No, I don't know. But yeah, I'm back myself.
I'm definitely going to watch it. And
yeah, but they've...
I mean, you can't not watch it.
After Prometheus, I'm out, I'm dead.
That's a beautiful looking film.
That is a beautiful looking movie. It's just a dreadful one.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely fucking dreadful.
What's this massive cock-shaped thing in an atmosphere that I've not been to? I think I might touch this. You're a scientist! What are you doing?
Yeah, but not all scientists are... I mean, look at... No. Yeah, so... Right. Well, listen. On that note, we got to go because it's dark now.
Yeah, we have got to
And we got to shoot, and I've got to get into London Bridge to be mad at people in bars.
Have you... Can I just point out very quickly?
You can.
For the benefit of the court, that Dragon Age Inquisition is incredibly cheap on PS4 just now.
Okay.
And
what is it?
I got the Game of the Year version, and
it's another one of those games.
You know Mass Effect, right?
Well, my word, not now.
It's that with dragons, essentially.
Okay. You love a dragon, don't you?
What?
You love a dragon.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're not Welsh.
Listen,
you were born in Wales, though, weren't you?
I was born in Wales. Yeah. Might be going back there soon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. Thanks for listening. I know that we've been a bit busy, but this is going to be out on, I don't know, early in the week, maybe.
This is coming out December 19th.
Yeah. By the time you're listening to this, you should be able to see some of the very, very cool stuff that we've been
very,
working
very
on.
Cool stuff. Yeah.
And,
I mean, it was weird because we've been kind of knocking our pans in on stuff, but there's there's loading came out and.
We've done some Resi stuff.
We shot a Resident Evil event.
Yeah, but
it does. But I mean, to the outside, I mean, production schedules and stuff aren't often immediately apparent to. Well, I mean, why would they be to the general public? But it must look from the outside like we've spent 4 months just like making 3 videos, and spending the rest of it just fucking
playing Dragon Age,
and then playing Dragon Age and going to Japan.
But yeah, the stuff that obviously we like everything that we've done so far.
Yes.
But I think the things that people are kind of expecting from us, that more creative angle, is coming very, very soon. And then you can see it, and then you can love it, and if you don't love it, you can get fucked.
There you go, another Steve Burns message.
There you go. All right. On that note, see ya.
See ya.